Welcome to today's session of Ask a Trainer. I'm joining you in my kitchen. My name's Chris Sousa. I'm the fitness coordinator, fitness officer at King Campus. Today we're also going to be joined by Mike Brain. He's the he's the sport coordinator at Seneca York. He's going to jump on here. We're going to answer a question today that we get a lot at our front desks about being active while it's cold outside. So kind of considerations on if you should be training differently, how to prepare, how to dress when you're becoming active outside. Because the weather is changing, it's a bit cooler now. People tend to either stop being active outside, which is what we don't want, or they start to limit the amount of time that they're being active outside. So we're going to answer that question so that you guys are able to still get active outside and enjoy the weather and do it in a safe way, so that you're not getting injured. You don't have to worry about getting sick, depending on how you're training or what you're wearing to train. We're going to make sure that you guys are doing it safely. So if you have any questions as we're going through this, make sure that you send us, you can actually comment or you can send us a direct message. Join us here, give them a couple seconds. If you do have questions as we go, just write them in, or you can send us a direct message. How's it going, Mike?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
I'm well.
Hi, everyone.
Did you get outside today?
Yeah, took the dog for a walk. It's
nice.
Beautiful where I am, but I think what we're going to try to maybe talk about is staying active when it's not so beautiful, right?
Yes.
And yeah, so yeah, I got out though. I'm trying to obviously take advantage of certain activities that you can do for maybe prolonged periods of time that maybe we couldn't quite get away with when it's minus 15, I guess. Right. What about yourself?
Yeah, I got out this morning. Just went for a very short jog. Can already feel, the colder air in the lungs. You can definitely feel a difference.
Yeah,
but it is
sure.
The sun's out, which is good. I think that's the biggest advantage of being outside, is getting enough sunlight. I know in the winter months, the days are shorter. The sun's actually further away from us as well. So a lot of time you're not getting as much sun as you would in the summer, which actually a lot of people, they might go through seasonal affect disorder, which usually comes around this time of year. It starts as we lose daylight. So that's a really important reason to get out, is to make sure you're getting enough sun. Because as we get closer and closer into the winter, and you're getting outside less, but also there's less daylight, and like I said, the sun's further away from us, so we're not getting that vitamin D that we need. And you'll start to feel it around this time. So it's important that you do prepare yourself to make sure you are still getting outside. What are kind of a couple things that you maybe wear, some suggestions for when it gets really cold out?
Yeah, so I was just gonna kind of continue what you were saying there, at least just to finish that, was that obviously the seasonal change will affect our mood, and obviously exercise, physical activity, it's proven can boost our mood, and obviously the release of endorphins and other chemicals in the brain that make us more enthusiastic and stuff like that. So I think it's important to also stay motivated, because looking out the window, sometimes it doesn't look too inviting to go out there, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go mountain climbing and do these extreme activities. And obviously with our given situation with COVID and being able to stay active while maintaining physical distancing is important. So I think a lot of the same things that we've been preaching for the spring and the summer, as far as maybe hiking or walking the dog, things that will improve your daily physical activity, not so much your intense workouts, which you can continue doing
Right.
inside your little designated workout spot that we've all kind of created in our homes, which should continue, obviously, right? And we can benefit from at least using the space we have and the programs that we've been running for you guys. But just know that obviously with the December blues or January blues, pretty much right till Victoria weekend, we're looking forward to that nicer weather, and we should kind of have a different mindset and perspective that this is Canada, and I don't think our weather is going to be changing anytime soon.
No.
So we need to kind of adjust, adapt, and take advantage of things that maybe we can do outside. So yeah, I mean, as far as what you should be wearing, obviously that's important. It goes without saying that layering is pretty key, and the wind can be your worst enemy. Not so much the temperature or the snow, but just that wind chill. So you want to make sure you kind of have layers, because I think most people associate with sweating and things like that is hot summer weather, and they don't typically think about things in the wintertime, because maybe you don't sweat, so you're not seeing the physical result from intense exercise. So wearing certain layers and specifically certain materials, I find, because like myself, I'm a huge sweater. And I can just sweat right now having this conversation, right? So I would want to have thin layers as opposed to one thick kind of jacket, and the materials, certain dry fit polyester materials as opposed to cotton, which can absorb the moisture. And then what happens is halfway through your workout, you're drenched and cold at the same time.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's not only important to stay warm, but to stay dry, right? Because as soon as your clothes start to absorb that sweat, that's when you're gonna start to get super cold. So that's a good point. Maybe your base layer is something that has a wicking fabric. You don't want that sticking against you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. What about on your feet? Like, do you suggest? I think you're a hiker. You like to hike. Do you wear anything different in the winter?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a nice pair of kind of hiking, like a hybrid, I guess, shoe slash boot. It's like
nice.
Like a nice kind of, you could almost run in them if you wanted. Just some good traction. Obviously, when we're talking about certain injuries in the wintertime, it's not so much just the the chances of hypothermia and things like that. It's the falls, it's the slips and falls, which are reported more in the wintertime, which makes sense because of the ice. Maybe we overestimate our balance and our coordination when we shouldn't, and uneven surfaces and slippery and wet surfaces. So for myself, I've got a nice pair of kind of all-purpose hiking shoe I can use year-round. Now, we're not asking everyone to go out and drop $200-300 on extra pair of shoes that you'll only use for hiking or outdoor activities. But I would say it's an investment for something that you're going to do to improve your health and your well-being. So since the gyms are pretty much closed and we're maybe saving some money on gym memberships, perhaps maybe you can prioritize that with the proper footwear and clothing, so that now you can at least go outside and stuff like that.
That's a great point. I like what you said there. A lot of people think that they have to go and invest huge amounts of money and jump into a winter sport right away. But I mean, do as much as you have to do it safely, but you don't need all the expensive equipment, right? You can go to a thrift store, grab some good quality boots. One thing that happens to me every year, fresh snow, you don't know what's underneath it. And at least once or twice a year, I'll go to step on what I think is just snow with maybe some leaves and mud underneath it. And there's fresh ice right underneath. And I usually, fall right in my ass. So always like be cautious when you're walking around. Make sure that you kind of know your environment, know what to expect. Do your research. Like if you're, a couple times I've been on a trail in the winter, and it looks, you could go to that same trail 5 or 6 times
Yeah.
during the summer, and you think you know your way around. As soon as you get a fresh snow, you don't see the paths. Next thing you know, there's no trail marking. So
Yeah.
do your research. You don't want to get stuck when it's colder weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely, that's one more tip. You touched on sweating and people not really thinking about that when it's cold out.
Yeah.
Another good point is hydration. I know a lot of people don't drink as much as they do in the winter. Our houses are actually drier in the winter,
Yeah.
and your body's working harder if you're outside to maintain your core temperature. So you're gonna want to pack water. I know you think it's kind of counterintuitive because you don't want to get cold, but it's really
Yeah.
good to pack. Make sure you have enough water on you for the activity you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I grew up playing hockey my whole life, and kind of a little bit of a stereotypical kind of Canadian small town childhood with pond hockey right in the backyard.
right,
And minus 15, and we're outside and we're playing, and we feel fine, and we feel like we could keep going. But I think any sport or activity where your body is your body temperature might now change, and you need to compensate for that. So I think hydration obviously is important for maintaining the equilibrium in the body and the circulation, but also for safety when it comes to our joints and our connective tissue is
right,
more, I guess. It's loses more heat in the wintertime, and you want and maybe we'll touch base on this now for our next topic we can discuss is proper warm up and why that's important if you're about to go outside in cold weather.
right,
Maybe we can kind of talk about that, because I think that's also something that you can't just go right outside and start your run when it's that
right,
cold, because your body won't respond the same way.
right. So you said you wanted to touch on
Yeah, yeah.
that
So
for
why don't you share something that you recommend?
Yeah, for sure. I actually like warming up inside gradually and then finishing my warm up outside. It's just an easier way of heating up the body. If you go outside, it might take a longer amount of time to increase your core temperature. And so I find I do a little bit of my warm up inside and then outside. And it actually, you adjust better to the cold that way because you're not just jumping in and
Yes.
you're gonna like if you just go straight from a nice cozy warm house and just go straight outside, it's almost going to be like a shock to the system, right? So
Oh yeah.
it's it's nice to gradually get out there. Your body's going to be warmed up, so you're going to be able to adjust better. But yeah, it's kind of a trick that I use,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it helps. It kind of motivates you to get outside, right? If you jump out and start doing your warm up outside, I find that you're probably not going to be
Yeah.
as motivated as if you're warming up inside, taking your time.
Yeah. You'll
Maybe throw
definitely,
some music on
yeah,
while
be
you're doing
less
it.
likely to continue. That's for sure. You'll get to the corner and then kind of go, "Oh my God, yeah, what was I thinking?" and turn around. So we don't want that to happen. And yeah, I mean, what I'd recommend is kind of once the colder weather starts to come, is to kind of that transition, right? It's kind of goes from one extreme to the other, unfortunately, here in Canada, but
Mm-hmm.
is to acclimatize yourself. So slowly kind of start to get out in the fall, the late fall, the early winter, and kind of slowly adjust to the change in weather. So that, yeah, like you said, it's not this big shock where you've hibernated for a little bit and then you go right outside and then you've kind of set yourself up for maybe failure early on. And yeah, for myself, yeah, warm ups, that's a really good idea, is to warm up inside, do some mobility work. So like I was saying, like your connective tissue, your ligaments, your tendons, they respond a lot differently in the cold weather. The range of motion and the lubrication's a little different for your joints. So you really want to make sure you warm those up before literally going in cold.
Right.
So that's a recommendation, and maybe even for your full workouts inside. And we don't just have to go outside. I mean, you can continue your normal workouts as you would in your home. What I'd recommend doing is doing it with daylight, with natural light, so that you can maybe take a look outside, and maybe it's a little bit more inviting, instead of doing it when it's dark and cold and scary.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So.
And you kill two birds with one stone, right? You get that sunlight and the vitamin D. You should be getting a certain amount of sunlight a day. So if you choose to do that as part of your daily physical activity, then you're off to the races. You've already, done two things you're supposed to do for that day.
Yep.
One thing I find that when I am doing physical activity outside, whether that anything, especially running, I find because of the traction, I'm using different muscle groups. So my abductors are usually so sore. Glutes for sure. So you want to kind of touch on that. Maybe give a little insight as to what's happening there.
That's an awesome point that a lot of people kind of forget about. Is it's actually very similar to people who maybe have never skated before, or skied, or have played beach volleyball, or any activity or sport that's performed on an uneven surface, or something that's basically not flat ground or grass. Our bodies, obviously haven't evolved fully to adapt to all environments. Everyone's different, right, from where you kind of are from, but you should really expose yourself to these different surfaces and different environments, because your body will respond differently. And even if you're the strongest, most fit person, and then you go to perform that exercise and you go, whoa, like I didn't know I had those muscles. Kind of thing. You always hear that. And that's always a good thing, because it means, there's new things for you to try. So then now maybe you've opened it up a whole new type of routine you can do that would work on other parts of the body, or what we call proprioception, which is basically using, your mind and body to kind of focus, balance, coordination. Different motor skills are involved, as opposed to just standing, performing an exercise that's not as challenging, because you don't have those outside external factors that are affecting. So yeah, absolutely. And then you can kind of maybe research some exercises that would help improve those smaller areas that, like you had said, kind of come out of nowhere. So that's a really good point. And it's always good to focus on those things and not just the big movements. So right. Yeah, excellent point. And try to maybe, obviously balance is important. And I'm actually running a couple different workshops and videos on functional movements. So maybe tune into that, because I'll talk about these things, which is balance and things like that. So awesome. Yeah, that's a good point.
Good. And lastly, if you want to share, I guess we can share our something that we're looking forward to, a physical activity or like an adventure this winter. If you have anything planned, or you got anything in your head that you want to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got this right here, my prop for the video.
Nice. So
like I said, I'm a hockey guy, and I haven't been able to play in my typical leagues that I'd be playing in for obvious reasons. So I'm hopefully, there's some outdoor rinks, outside of the city that aren't part of the community centers. And I've got a toddler, and I'm hoping maybe this is maybe the year that we kind of introduce him to skating. Awesome. But that's just an excuse to get outside and to do something. But for myself, yeah, it's like you had said at the beginning, I'm big on hiking and being outdoors, and whether it's in the fall with the beautiful colors, in the spring with mud, summer, like winter, you name it, there's always something good to find and to see, and it's always a good experience. So for me, it's just trying different trails. And I know some of the ones that like you're pretty close to me as well, and we use the same trails, and there's always like you had said, always a surprise corner or a different route. So it's things like that. So, but I'd like to maybe get out and get on the ice a little bit, just because we've been doing the same thing every day with the little space and the minimal amount of equipment we have. So
Right.
using the winter as a new kind of chapter and to this whole COVID thing is to get outside. So that's my thoughts on, I don't know what's your plan.
Right. I usually try to plan a couple things over the winter just to keep me motivated, to keep me going. Trail running is a lot of fun. It's a little, I mean, I'm getting a little older now, so the body doesn't respond as agile as it used to. So that might be, a couple trail runs here and there. But I think I'm going to invest in a fat bike this summer or this winter.
No?
Did that a couple times last winter, and I really enjoyed it. And I went mountain biking. You were at the same trail, same day actually, like
Yeah,
half an
yeah,
hour apart.
yeah.
But I hadn't been on a like mountain biking in years, and it was a lot of fun. So that was that. I think I made my decision there. So I'm
Yeah,
looking to pick up a fat bike now, and I think it's something that'll keep me going in the winter.
yeah,
Keep me
yeah. That's awesome.
outside, and I think it'll be fun. Um, but anything where you're moving around and you're outside in the sun is what's going to work. You don't have to invest in a pair of skis or a mount or a bike
Yeah,
or
yeah,
snowshoes. There's lots of opportunities even in the city. Lots of trails.
yeah.
There's ski hills in Toronto. Who knows if they'll be open or not? But there lots of outdoor rec stuff that you can still do. Like you said, there's uh, skating trails as well.
Oh, yeah,
Hopefully those are still open. So we'll see.
yeah,
I know York Region is not on lockdown right now for some of their stuff. So
yeah,
fortunately, there might be some opportunities still.
yeah.
So just I would suggest doing your research, Google different activities. There's so much to do at your doorstep. So and a lot of them are free. So even better.
There you go. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much my input, and so thanks for sharing yours. And I would say just most importantly is to stay motivated because it affects our mental health, and is to no matter what you're doing, just find something that you enjoy doing. As cheesy as that sounds, it shouldn't be a chore, and it should really be something that you would really want to go outside to do or to
Right.
participate in. So that's my 2 cents. So anyway, so thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. And
All
guys,
righty.
if you want to send us any of your questions, we can answer coming up in the following weeks. You can do so by shooting us a direct message. And until next time, be well, Mike. Be safe. Maybe we'll see you on the trails.
You got it. Take care,
Take
guys.
care.
All right.